Coming up on Linux Gamecast Weekly, Ceiling Steam watches you masturbate? ? Humble goes to 11, FTL goes full metal time vampire, and something about Strife. Then we throw the chairs at Guacamelee. All this, plus your 8 mil. Let's go. And welcome back to another Linux Gamecast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-to, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, big show. We're screaming about Steam's vaccination, Humble goes to 11, FTL gets updates, and we're playing some Guacamelee. All that plus our hate mail. But joining me every week, up north, the mean, horrible Canadian. Actually, he's the sweetest little gentleman in the world with a fancy T-shirt. What's it say, J-Man?
It says Symphony X, but I was going to show off the RS-232 port in my belly button.
Oh, that's pretty hot. And over here in Portugal with his rage, the P-Man, Mateus, Giggling Death. He goes by many names. So, also, we have Linux Gamecast. We'll get into that in a minute, but I do want to mention Chat Realm Dynamic, who show up every week. The trolliest of the trolls, the zombie demon hordes of the interwebs. The part that completes our little cocaine Voltron. But before we get started, let's see what we've been up to this week. P-Man, take it away.
Not really. No, this has been a pretty uneventful week.
All right, that's great. Jordan, what have you been up to?
I have a bunch of new UPSs around the house, so I don't have to worry about running out of power for a while.
I saw that in the show notes. No snow for you.
No. Oh, no, I got snowed.
Snowed. Brilliant.
I got snowed.
Over here, very excited. Actually, I'm very genuinely excited because Googs was all like, would you like some Google Fiber? And I was like, yes, Googs. Please. Shove that cock deeper in my throat. I'll gladly take it.
I have no gag
and
reflex.
So they are doing, some exploration in the ATL area, which is just, a step to the right from where I live. So it might be sliding up the map just a bit to get me some of that sweet, sweet Google Fiber. But, rubbing some nipples. Make with that whoring, baby.
Yeah, it's the pelvic thrust that takes you to LinuxGameCast.com. Check us out there. Click on the forums button to join Chat Realm, statically linked with any frickin' Moon account you have. Twitter, Identica, YouTube, all that stuff. Also might want to check out our YouTube page.
Woo!
Woo! Subscribe to that motherfucker. Get timely updates. Better than when Ben wakes up from his drunken stupor and decides to post stuff. And, of course, we have our favorite illegal immigrant run Facebooks page. Ooh, look at that. It's all blue likes. Like Facebook.
96 likes.
And you know what? Ryan Gordon has told us to reconsider some of our life choices. So I think we're going to do that. While going to reddit.com/rlinux_gaming, our second favorite Kiwi on the internet. But you know what? Mounds and mounds of stolen Nazi gold fund this little train wreck that we call Linux Gamecast Weekly. But we can always use a little bit more if you want to help us out. And especially if you hate starving children in Africa, you can head on over to our podcast page. Click on the podcast link, where a recurring donation will get you a producer's credit. That means your name at the end of the episode, so that all your friends can laugh at you while watching, after watching this. But a one-time donation still gets you membership into the glorious Linux PC gaming master race.
That's a very nice ring to it, yeah.
I think that about wraps it up for the whoring. But I think we have to consider the nuclear option then.
Well, gather round, chillins, because Uncle Vin got a story for our favorite crackers. And it comes about nuclear nope. And when I say nuclear nope, I do mean nuclear dawn. Fact of the source, this game has been abandoned. At least the Linux version has. Just reading up on this, who was it? I want to make sure we get the names in here. Grr.
Grr.
Right. I wrote another email asking if there's a possibility that someone will get the Linux version out of beta, and this is a response. I'm going to save you the time. The link's going to be in the show note. Basically, they said, yeah, that company's kind of been dissolved. It's full of nope sauce, so have fun with your beta. basically public service announcement. It looks like there's no immediate future for this business. So
stop spending money on it.
Right, you might not want to buy it, even though it mostly works. There's just a few missing textures. And to be honest, for a Linux port these days, with all this greenlight BS, that's a pretty stable game, isn't it, J-Man? B-Man?
Oh, very, very stable.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, now it's not nuclear dawn anymore. Now it's just nuclear done.
Nuclear dog.
Oh.
But you know what? Now that the mushroom cloud is cleared, we have one irradiated being left, and it is a horse.
That horse this week, I heard it's got some new security features in it.
It does. Well, number one, it's irradiated, so you can't touch it without getting horse answercades. But it's our Steam
Linux
Update
of the week. No dice, man. Check this business out. Steam's VAC protection now scans and transfers your and the entire internet went, oh my god, we're getting hacked by... No, not really.
So what it actually is Steam's, if you join a game that's using VAC, Valve's anti-cheat, it'll take a copy of your DNS cache, hash it, and then send it off to Valve to check a common database of URLs that hackers use for authentication, because there is a market for kernel level exploits in games now, and people like to pay money to be artificially good at video games.
And Lord knew, like, Gaben himself jumped at it, and he was like, chill the fuck out, yo. I mean,
this was like a day later, front page on Reddit.
And he's like, basically, in order for VAC to work right, it's got to do some sneaky shit. So, Stufu, P9 thoughts?
It's cheats or VAC.
Yeah, and it's Valve.
Again, they're not interested in our browsing history.
Yeah, they really have nothing to do with your porn history.
I do think that was one of the things in there. He was like, we're not looking at your
you're
porn.
hurting my brain.
Oh, man, that is something. But tell me about the stream business.
Ooh, they're streaming, all right. And it's gone into a bit of a hiatus when it comes to updates. But because they're revamping the architecture to reduce latency, I don't know if you guys watched a guy on YouTube who actually did a latency test.
Right, I saw that.
They had like 79 milliseconds of latency, so they wanted to reduce that even more. And it's going to support hardware accelerated encoding, like it should have from the start, but it didn't exactly work.
That's all well and good though. But war Linux to Linux streaming. I'm tired of dealing with
some
AMD driver
people have
issues.
reported success with Linux to Linux streaming.
Really,
I've seen a couple of.
I tried that earlier today and yesterday.
Yeah, didn't get it. Yeah, someone on Linux_gaming, some random Arch user, claimed to be able to stream Dota 2 from Linux to Linux. Of course, it's Linux_gaming, but we'll get to that later.
No. Why in the world would you want to stream Linux to Linux? That sounds like crazy talk.
Well, it's almost as I have a less powerful machine in my living room and a stupid powerful machine sitting at my feet. And maybe I want the high-powered computer to just serve video to the low-powered computer so that I don't have to deal with AMD driver problems.
Oh, just like these guys, you're always blaming somebody, man.
You know what? Frickin' communists. Goddamn communists. And it's basically what these paranautical activity guys are saying. This is from our favorite Kiwi, Linux_gaming.
Second favorite Kiwi.
Basically, the devs have gone completely silent when it comes to updates for the beta and the Linux client. And there's some Steam threads there with people asking some legitimate questions and getting the runaround from the developers. But... yeah, basically they don't have a working Linux version, even though they're still listed on the Linux tag or Linux section. So people will spend money saying, hey, this game's on Linux, but it's really not, and it sucks.
Well, didn't that come as part of a bundle a while back?
It did, didn't it? And wasn't there some sort of incident with Greenlight and the developer going, oh, Linux is dumb. You should be grateful we're including Linux and multiplayer.
There was some huge snafu with them getting, because a lot of companies get partnered and they're like, oh, guaranteed in, and they didn't get their guaranteed in. They flipped their...
yeah, they're trying to play both sides, trying to get a publisher and Greenlight. Doesn't work all that well.
So they say
but
it's Steam fault. Yeah.
It's Steam's fault.
Well-
It's you know what? Blame the communists. Blame the Jews.
Was
blame
that?
Skins,
I mean,
Nazis.
was that? What's that?
Was that?
Wazak.
Well, Wazak is a side-scroller roguelike type game that I actually played on my Android for a good couple of months.
I was
before it
just
came
about to
Linux.
address the graphics. I'm glad you got to
Yeah,
that. All right.
this is
Yeah.
like worse than N64. What the fuck?
Yeah, the animations and the character models and the textures themselves, it looks very 90s.
So
But
what is Wazak? Time moves forward, and when you do in the dungeons, I don't know, so you can take time to solve problems. And so puzzle platformer, am I guessing right?
Sort of, yeah.
Well, at least it isn't
guess
hipster
you could call it
pixels. It's
it's
hipster 90s PC game.
Something.
Math Blaster.
Wow, look at the price. $8.49, 15% off, so
$10.
right. You can pay.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
All right. Fine. Let's just go to hell.
Yeah,
You go to
seriously,
hell. You go to
the
hell, and
99
you get
level of hell.
bees. So I was kind of excited when this rolled out. I looked at it and I was like, all right. An intentionally hard game. You know, I was thinking something like, what was the Fuck You, That's Why game we played a couple of weeks back? Dungeon Defenders?
Rogue Legacy.
No.
Rogue Legacy, right.
Rogue Legacy, yeah.
Right.
Fuck
and
you, the game.
basically.
God damn it!
You know, the price was coming in at $4.99 wet sticky, and I looked at this business and I was like, oh, all right, this looks pretty neat. And what it is, it's a platform shooter with a lot of guns, upgrades, magic traps, monsters to kill, 99, and I was like, all right, let's give this a buy, because I didn't scroll all the way down and see this magical nope text right here. Partial controller support. And this is my own damn fault. Absolutely. Take 100% responsibility for that. If I'd read that, I would have said, you stay over here. So, I get on my G pluses, and I was like, seriously, this passes for a controller config in 2004, which, granted, love the fact that Unity finally has that window on Linux, because before that, you were just
Finally.
perma-fucked.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out what button does what and to assign them correctly was a bit more of a pain in the ass than I wanted to spin, but I always get a kick, and we were just talking about that. Then Levi Bard from Unity chimes in, and he's like, well, to be fair, the default dialogue is the same on Windows and Mac, except uglier because it uses Cocoa. And I was like, all right, that's nice. So we had a little chat about that business.
Big picture mode.
Oh, I thought it was kind of neat. The game is kind of fun, actually, if you play it with the keyboard and wireless gerbil. But don't expect a sit-back experience. And another issue with that Unity control, because I did bother to play this in big picture on the Steam box, which just has a controller. When that pops up, boom, I was like, what? No, I gotta go find a gerbil and a keyboard to plug into this. Nope. Just cut it off. I just said, take my money, all right? That was my stupid mistake. But, J-Man, I think that's about time to secure that horse.
Yeah, no. What we got to do is dip it into the cooling liquid, let the steam rise, and fuel the turbines that power our engine of hate that we call regular news.
For your face.
It's that time again. It's the news. And gentlemen, I have a question.
If you
I'm
wish
gonna
that
kick you in the
literally
face,
pull out
Pedro.
all your teeth
Pedro, you can
and
die.
feed them to you.
Die. You're dead. I'm coming over there as soon as possible.
Okay, you're fired. Fuck it. Hey, chat realm. Anyone want to be a host on Linux Gamecast?
But what are you talking about, man? I heard something went to 11, right?
Yep, the Humble Indie Bundle 11
Well,
with
so
almost
what if you
all
just like,
games.
took all the settings and increase them a little bit? Then you wouldn't need to go to 11.
Right.
But this one goes
Almost
to 11.
all the games support Linux. Almost. We have that one runt of the
Monaco.
litter, the Gianna sisters, which will not have a Linux version until later this year, and
Nor will they
that's
have a
directly
Mac version
quoted
either,
from Humble. So yeah, we'll see when that port finally comes. But yeah, we do have Guacamelee Gold Edition. Stick around. We're going to be throwing chairs at that particular game. There's Dust and Legion Tail, which we've already thrown chairs at. There's the
That's a pretty
Swapper,
good game.
Any Chamber, and Monaco. What's yours is mine. And if you want to pay higher than the average, currently it's sitting at $456.
J-Man, you got any thoughts, sir?
I'm surprised there's only one game that I already own on that. So
Yeah, and I looked at that.
good on you, Humble. You didn't entirely fuck it up.
That's decent, but I heard they kind of snuck something in with a little Twisted Sister.
Yeah, this is what was it? They're waiting on the port to be finished.
Right.
Yeah.
You go way down here.
So
Please note.
Isn't that?
Yeah. Twisted Dreams is currently available for Windows, Mac, and Linux. Versions will be available later this year, and wow, there's a whole lot of year left, gentlemen.
Proteus.
Yep.
Well, wait, no. We got Proteus. What was the one that we were
Vessel.
promised that we never got?
Oh, the one we never got. Jeez.
Mm.
Shot room?
Chat realm.
Yeah.
Because
We need your help on this one, chat room.
yeah, no, because we did talk about it, but we've done so many episodes in the interim, I literally can't remember.
Right. So Linux is still kicking some arse with 676, a little better than the Mac and the Windows.
But not 666. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. A little Pac-Man small, but why not? That's a thing. So
Still paying higher, so I'm alright with that.
Strife.
Strife. Oh, it's. I'm suffering. I'm subjected to strife.
Gonads and Strife, man. That's two
Gonads
things.
and strife. Gonads and strife. Gonads and strife.
Yep. Well, and you ain't got drugs yet. Action-oriented design, improved team play, customize your experience. Sign up for the closed beta because it's live. I'd never signed up for this, and
I did.
my email box is like, here. And I was like, oh, who are you? What's this? All right. And download it. It's like 1.2 gigs. And I was like, oh, okay. And went to launch it, and it was like, oh, 64-bit only. And it doesn't say that anywhere. I was like, I kind of want to play this, but I don't want to play it enough to go put it on the Steam box in the living room. So, didn't really get around to it. P-Man, you got any thoughts on this business?
Yeah, I signed up for the beta. Never did get an invite, and if it's 64-bit only, I really don't mind.
I'm good on it, man. I mean, if it had asked me last year, I would have said, 32-bit still has its place. This year, I think Steam needs to pull the trigger and be like 64-bit only from now on to get everyone to move over to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you do want to sign up though, you gotta wait till the 28th to actually try this sucker out. I'm gonna give it a try. But I do have to say this. Their website actually looks pretty good. It
does.
Decently designed. I think they might be using something like Popcorn to handle the transitions, but it's just it's refreshing considering all the other Linux game sites we have to deal with. There's one that they actually put some effort into their webpage.
So, I mean, it looks pretty, and this is from the guys behind Savage, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the artwork looks a lot like League of Legends, but the screenshots actually seem closer to Torchlight. So I'm kind of curious for that.
What is this
Yeah.
thing walking around? All right. So,
I don't know. It's some sort of clown ass banjo.
and you got smashy things. So this is what, MOBA? Type stuff?
MOBA.
Yeah,
Right.
MOBA.
this is a MOBA.
Yeah. I'm not missing anything by this because it's just not my cup of tea.
if it's your thing, check it out.
Now check it out. Strife.com. Good on that domain name, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That must have
mustn't
been a tough one.
easy to get, though.
so
Wow.
J-Man, I hear that soon, very soon, we are probably going to be losing you.
Yes, unfortunately, they have FTL Advanced Edition coming out at some point, at which point I will be mummified in my apartment, and it will take a robber several years to break in here and find my decrepit, desiccated corpse. But this is FTL Advanced Edition. We've talked about this before. They have a little article here going in about the new systems that they've added, like clone bays, hacking, which I was actually looking forward to, even mind control and a backup battery. And they added a hard mode because normal mode wasn't fucking difficult enough. Hard mode. Fucking. If you really hate yourself. But anyways, this is a free update. So if you already own FTL, you will be getting all this content.
Good guy,
and
FTL.
I'm looking forward to it.
Right. Peanut, did you ever get into FTL? I couldn't. I tried. Go ahead.
I tried. I really did. It's one of those games that I was afraid to get into because. Give me a second, Jordan. Because.
No! Never! I have to have my
everyone
say.
I know who actually got into the game wound up just losing hours of their time and getting really into it and not playing anything else. So I was kind of scared. But then I actually played it and I'm like, yeah. So yeah. Good on them for releasing the free update, though. That's rare these days.
You know, I'm still pissed off that they focused on the iPad port before an Android port, considering that Android does kind of dominate the market share, and I just want to play this on my freaking.
But we all have our gold iPhones, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we all have Nexus devices except for Pedro because he's in Portugal.
Next one, Nexus 2, Nexus 3.
Boom! From rootgamer.com, Paragon Evolved demo.
Yep.
Tell me about it, P-Man. I've never heard of it.
This is, this is basically Quake 3 in Unity with a Tron outfit. It's got the light show thing going for it.
Wait, I just stop you right here. I'm reading. This is a feature. Intelligent and lethal enemies as opposed to...
Suicidal dumb enemies.
I don't know.
Judean People's Front Suicide Squad! Execute!
Maybe they've been living under a rock and they don't know what artificial intelligence is. I don't know.
Operation Darkies.
Yeah. This is update 27 for Paragon Evolved, and I tried the demo. I downloaded it.
It looks
It
decent.
starts, menu interaction works fine.
I can tell you right now it's a Unity game.
Yeah,
it's pretty obvious. I couldn't change the key bindings, remapping the controls. There was really no option for it. And when you get in-game, per se, the demo just freezes. If you Alt-tab and give another window focus, it seems to be working all right. Everything's working okay. As soon as you give the window focus again, it freezes.
Huh.
It's stupid.
Well, looking at that, I mean, the demo is priced to sell, isn't it?
Yeah, the demo is free.
Free.
No word on how much the actual game will cost. At least not yet.
Well, fortunately, I mean, like I said, this came from Root Gamer, and one thing Linux has always been in desperate need of is another shooter. I mean,
oh yeah, we have
yes,
no shooters at all.
So
we have open arena, and that's it.
Pretty much, man. If Carmack would ever just port one damn thing. So, Heroes, something, yeah?
Yes, Arena of Heroes. This is off IndieDB. This is a turn-based MOBA, which actually caught my interest because I'm like, maybe if you slow it down, it will be interesting.
I'm still in a technical mood. 100% free to play, as opposed to
100% free to play. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
You just download it and run it. It runs without any issue, which is not atypical for IndieDB games, but anyways, it's basically turn-based League of Legends. That's all I can describe it as. And I thought it would be more than it was, but I guess I didn't really know what I was expecting. That's all I have to say about it.
I downloaded it and had to go.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What did you think?
I lasted about 3 minutes when I realized the combat was turn-based, and I went, nope, and closed. Oh, and another thing. If the first thing I notice when I launch a game is a shopping cart in the upper right-hand corner, yeah, it tells me something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
But honestly, the game I'm looking forward to that has this kind of gameplay is Shadowrun Dragonfall, and I'm still moist about that. But MX versus ATV Supercross. Vehicle versus vehicle.
Racing
More
games
racing.
for Linux.
Racists!
Speed racist.
Yep.
Go speed
racists all the way. Yeah, this is MX versus ATV Supercross, and it will be coming for Linux and Xbox 360 and Mac and Windows and all that. Later in the year. Apparently, it's in September, I think. I read somewhere. But yeah,
So
It's
this has been around for a
basically-
long time, right? This is like old school.
It is. The MX
Yeah.
versus ATV series has been around since 2006, 2007
Right.
ish. Yeah. So it's basically a bike game. You either, two-wheel bike or a quad bike. And I actually played the Unleashed version a long time ago on a friend's PS3,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. And it's a fun game. And I want it on Linux because, again, racing games, Linux, we don't have a lot.
You know, if somebody
But-
just hear me out, if you just want to just want to
Hmm.
print money, make an online multiplayer Excitebike, the original NES.
Hmm.
Done. Go ahead, get it out of your
But
system.
then,
What?
danger zone.
Ow! Bombable. What is this, you might ask? I don't know. Let me read. No, I do know what it is. You might have heard of Flight Gear. It's kind of serious business. It's not an arcade game until now. So this basically just adds pew, pew, pew to your standard flight gear.
Yep.
Bombs, weapons, damage, fire, and explosion effects to flight gear that work with the main aircraft scenery, AI objects, and multiplayer aircraft objects. Bombable turns flight gear into a combat flight simulator. Whew, take breath.
Gonna
No,
take you riding.
danger
The
zone.
danger zone.
Yeah, that's the only time. I mean, I'm looking at this. The only time I've ever really played flight gear is I learned how to take off in a warthog. Just one of those situations I might be in my life. Yeah. So this looks neat. I like it. Comes in as free with flight gear. This is at flightgear.org/bombable. Pick that up if you're into that. And I'm always impressed by the guys at Flight Gear because it's just a mental project, and some of the most insane, genuinely mad people play Flight Gear with like surround sound, 30-inch monitors.
With like the entire freaking rig of the aircraft control cockpit.
Right, they got like 60 grand tied up in their simulator. I'm like, man, that's cool. I don't care what you want to say about it. That's
Yeah,
nerding out
I'm gonna
hard.
play 5 minutes of it, but that's pretty fucking awesome.
Right, I have no interest in that. I would be playing Mario Kart on it, going wee in circles. But that's gonna wrap it up for the news. Don't we got some review bits coming up?
Yeah,
next,
no,
you know?
we got some evil avocados.
You cannot
Avocado
brain.
that we're gonna mash up with our fists in a big guacamelee. Coming up next. Well, guess what? It's time to take our resident Mexican, pound him with our fists, and have a good old-fashioned guacamelee. This is Guacamelee from Drinkbox Studios, using the Drinkbox developed in-house engine. And it's $14.99. What stinky cashes are €13.99 euro, Mordor coins, whatever the hell they're called. Rupees, I have no idea. But this is Guacamelee Gold Edition. This came with the Humble Bundle, and you can still grab it for whatever the hell you want. For how many days are left on the bundle now?
A
2, 3?
couple. Right.
A couple. You could probably still get this by the time this episode hits the air.
there's
What
like
is it?
9 days
It
left
is.
on the bundle.
It is Mexican Metroid. It is Mexican Metroid. That's really all I have to say about it. Run around, kill shit as Mexican wrestlers. That we'll get into that a bit later. But cue the chair split edition.
Mhm.
There it is. So as you may or may not already know, we grade things on a 4-chair metric. 1 chair means that it's shit. 2 chairs means that it's meh. 3 chairs means that it's pretty good. And 4 chairs means that it's awesome. And look at Ven's mustache. It's all felt. Oh, he's not going to cut to that. But maybe if I tell him to show us the categories of doom.
Bring it.
Of whom mixed with the working, shiny, and sounds, controls, and fun. In order, does it work? Does it run? Does it run well? How is it orally and visually good? Controls is self-explanatory, and yeah, fun is self-explanatory. But anyways, Ven, Guacamelee Gold Edition, making with the working. Does it?
Okay.
Care?
Okay.
Care?
No,
Tienes que hablar español, si no, Ven no comprende.
listen, Moon Boy. We're not talking about that. We're talking about
American.
American. Does it make with the working? Yes, it absolutely does make with the working on a minimum system. Ubuntu 1204 LTS, 32-bit, 770 powered, out of the box, no issues with it whatsoever, not even the slightest glitch, which is a rare thing these days. 4 chairs, all L way. Take it away, J-Man.
All the way. Well, I tested this on my AMD A10 5800K Steam box. This thing ran beautifully. No issues whatsoever. Haven't tested it on the NVIDIA box. Haven't needed to test it on the NVIDIA box, which is always a good thing. So I'll give that 4 chairs. I will say this couch co-op is a bit weird because the player 2 presses start and you spawns this little ball that the other player has to hit in order for the character to spawn.
Mario Party.
Difficult while you're slipping tongue. P-Man.
Yeah, on my end, I tried it on both my calculator with a 5650 HD Radeon. Using the open source drivers, it ran out of the box, no issues. Also tried it on my 9-year-old desktop PC, which has an NVIDIA 5600 GS, and it runs fine. It just, the performance is a bit choppy every now and again, so really can't complain. It's a pretty old computer. 4 chairs for me.
So that's 4 chairs for Mix with the working. We have our avocados laid down. It's a good base. So, shiny and sounds. Ven.
What?
Was there shiny and was there sounds?
Oh, fine. Shiny and sounds. Gonna look at the notes. Gotta say, man, bitching soundtrack is bitching. I loved it. Really got me in the spirit with the game. Love the whole mariachi, like, just cool. Nothing negative like that. The art style I fell in love with, just, it worked. It reminded me like Dust. It was like a simplified version of Dust, but it didn't try to be pseudo 2D, 3D. I mean, it was just like flat in that work.
But I think you like what it does try to do, don't?
Oh, then it was like, you know, there's a warning screen, and it's not like, we don't even know if this actually causes seizures, but it probably will if you're all seizing. So it's like, yes, they don't even. It was like, we haven't really tried to test this, so at your own risk. Fell in love with that, but I'm definitely gonna have to knock the game 1 chair because there's a decided lack of children in the villages. So I'm gonna have to give it 3 chairs.
There is actually 1 dead child, though.
Right. J-Man.
Right. One that's not enough dead children, Pedro. You need to understand. Then needs like at least a dozen dead children to even get half a chub. But anyways, yeah, like Ven said, the soundtrack to this is just awesome. It feels like you're in a luchador match, beating up zombie demons and pigmen and whatnot. And like the visuals are just awesome. It's very Dia de los Muertos or whatever the fuck it's called, Day of the Dead. It's just an all-around nice looking game. I can't give it 4 chairs because my eyes were not yanked out of my sockets and rubbed on its privates. But this is a very good looking game. It is a very good sounding game. It gets 3 chairs.
P-Man.
Yeah, like both Ven and Jordan already mentioned, it's the background music, it complements the visuals perfectly. They did an awesome job with that one. Kudos with that. And then there's the visuals, which for this game is basically Shank in a full Metroidvania suit. Except you don't get any of the nitty-gritty stuff of Shank's dark sort of story. It's all take a shot. Oh, god damn it, I can't say colorful. And cheery. So for me, I really can't find a reason to give it anything other than it deserves. 4 chairs.
Quatro.
Yep. That's 3 chairs for shiny and sounds. That's a very good sport.
Pretty damn
Now
good.
we take the chili peppers and we grind it in for control.
So for the controls, I was using the Xclone 360 controller. You know, and I was reading through the forums earlier, and people was like, well, this is kind of difficult, but I found that, like, binding this setup on my keyboard, and I was like, some people play this with a keyboard. You are insane. I was just, like, floored. I was like, you have my respect, because, you know, this thing's fuck you hard with just a controller. Everything worked with the controls. Didn't have an issue with it. Even, you know, when it got down to, like, button mashing, this game doesn't let you get away with it. When you go to the trainee chicken thing, you need to train with the trainee chicken thing and learn some of those combos and moves, because they're going to save your arse later in the game. No issues with it. I was going to knock at a chair because it felt like sometimes it just didn't register everything, but that was just down to me being old. So, I'm going to give it what it deserves, Quatro chairs.
Yeah, I can't really add on to anything Ben said. The controls, the gameplay demands control precision, and it delivers it. So that's basically it. If you need the tight controls in order to even attempt to pull off any of the wacky ass shit that this game demands of you.
Yep.
So, and they pulled it off. So I'm gonna give them 4 chairs on control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, on the Xbox controller. Blah 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 blah. Don't even there's a recommendation at the beginning of the game to play this with the controller. That's more of a mandatory order.
Pretty much, yeah. So I didn't play with the X-Bone controller. I used my PS2 DualShock, and I've already mentioned Shank, and if you remember a couple of months back, we threw the chairs at Mark of the Ninja, and it had the exact same problems as Shank did when it came to controls, in that they didn't work most of the times. This game, though, tight and responsive controls paired with, you know, an out-of-the-box working DualShock controller can only mean one thing. 4 chairs.
Really? I thought it meant a rectal exam. But anyways, that's 4 chairs for controls. So, finally, it's time to mash it all up with Pedro's face as we roll on into the fun section. Then, did you have fun playing Guacamelee Gold Edition?
Fun I had, and I had it in spades. The pacing for this game is spot on. I mean, it pisses you off just enough. We were talking before we started recording, actually before we even started streaming tonight. There were multiple times where I sit down and I just got my ass handed to me. And I was like, all right, then go do something productive. And I was futzing around, and the entire time I was futzing around, in the back of my brain organ was going, all right, if you try this, and you try this, and you do this, and you do this. And that just eventually got the best of me, and I was back in here in the studio. I was like, screw you, game. I'm going to take you down. And that happened multiple times. That's how I progressed through the game in chunks like that. And it just comes down to most modern games are just too easy. This game starts off with, like, the first time I saw the Meat Saws, which was like a throwback to Meat Boy, and I was like, right, I get it. I get it. All right? You don't have to, like, remind me of, like, we're trying to fuck you. But that's the important thing. This game isn't trying to be fuck you hard. It's not. It is really a throwback to the difficulty level that we saw, you know, with, like, the original NES. And that's definitely a thing. The thing that, like, warmed my remaining heart cockle was, again, I was in the forums just reading through this. You know, I like to keep, you know, just up to snuff with what people are saying about games. And this was one where I was like, this game's stupid hard. I mean, it was some kidding. I mean, at the first post, it was like, it has no business. This game is just da-da-da-da-da-da. And he's like pointing out all the things that make this game completely unplayable. And I was reading because, you know, immediately on Steam, everyone jumped into his shit, right? And I'm like, on page 3, he pops back in and he's like, okay, I sit down, I figured out, and I learned how to play it, I got better at it, and I finally beat it. And I was just, there we go. Some hope for the future. Belly clap for you, sir. So with the fun, I can't give it 4 chairs because ultimately it gets hella repetitive later on in some stages, especially training areas where you just drop down and it's endless. And I get that's part of the charm, but for me, it kind of started feeling a bit like drudgery. So I couldn't do 4 on that one. I really thought about it hard, but I have to give it the Quatro. Nope. Trace.
Haha. I am super disappointed that this game doesn't have Zelda chickens, because you can beat chickens and they look like they're gonna get mad, but then they don't try and kill you, and I was really upset about that. It's like in Skyrim. If you go to the first town and kill a chicken, you get shit. You get arrested. You get all that crap you have to deal with right at the beginning of the game. This game does not do that, so that's enough for me to ding in a chair anyways. But I mean, you have to love luchadors. You have to love the whole visual aspect. The game is stupid fucking hard. I probably couldn't do this as a kid. I'm not gonna do it now with my fucking bummed out wrists and repetitive strain injuries. But it's fuck you hard, but in a loving sort of way.
What about all the memes in it?
Yeah, the references are great. They're worth a chuckle. I'm gonna give this 3 chairs. This is a damn fun game.
Yep. Yeah, on the first go, it sort of sucked me in for an hour without me even realizing it. It's, again, I'm going to keep bringing Shank up, so if you're watching this later, take a shot.
No, you know,
it's
we'll
like,
shank you later.
It's like Shank and Dust and Elysian Tail got drunk in some random Mexican bar, and this was their dumpster baby. It's the advantage it has on Shank is that at least it doesn't take itself as seriously as Shank does, so it's got that going for it. The random pop culture references, like Ben and Jordan mentioned, they're pretty mild.
Everything from Grumpy Cat to for hipster.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're actually pretty mild, and considering the general tone of the game, they're very well placed. But it does prey on the Mexican stereotype to get some cheap laughs every now and again. There's plenty of
no one in their right mind makes fun of Mexicans for comedy.
I know, right? But it does so successfully, and good on them for that. They didn't overstay their welcome. And I guess I really have to duck in a chair because it's a Metroidvania game. And like most Metroidvania games, it resorts to that fucking gimmick of having to have you backtrack like some obsessive compulsive lunatic in order to squeeze just a couple of more minutes of gameplay. 3 chairs.
And that's 3 chairs for fun. So if we're gonna total all this nonsense up, average it, stick it in a blender, and then serve it with a side of nachos, we get a 3-chair game for Guacamelee Gold Edition. So
that's a definite
final
check
thoughts,
it out.
That's buy this game. You can literally pay like a penny for it. It's worth more than that.
Yep.
Final thoughts on this business. Like I said, it's hard, it's challenging. I saw in the chat realm, JK47 said he had to play it with his keyboard. Got mad respect for you, son, on that. Dig it, like the art style. Now, one thing I will say, since this thing does clock in, if you don't get it on the Humble Boomble, it's 15 wet, stinky caches, and let's be perfectly honest, you can speed run this game in under an hour if you want to. I can Vin run this game, old man Vin run this game in 3 hours. So just keep that in mind. But, if you want to go and do all the quests and get all the power-ups and all that fun business, I'm sure it's just infinity and, suits everywhere. I enjoyed it. Jimin?
It's fun. I can't do Nintendo hard games anymore because my wrists are completely fucked. But had I the physical ability to go through the entire game, I probably would have, because this is a fun, addictive game. I just had to fucking put the controller down before I hurt someone.
Yeah, it is. It's hard. It's frustrating, but it's fun, and it's funny. So it's got that going for it. And again, you can literally get it for 1 cent if you don't care about Steam. You can just go to Humble right now, pay 1 cent, and you get the game.
They're a Linux user, and they would never do that.
Yeah, no self-respecting Linux user would ever do that. We pay higher than the average all the time.
Goddamn right.
So,
You're
yeah, it's a
goddamn
definite,
right.
definite. Check
Say
it out for
my
me.
name. All right. So what's up next?
So, coming up next, we have actual hate mail for your face.
Wee-hoo.
Shock among shocks.
And now we come to that special time of the week where we read the things you said about our mothers on the internet. Just a quick reminder though, on our hate mail section, if you'd like to contribute, you can just go to linuxgamecast.com and push that contact button on the nav bar there. Then you just fill out the form, your name, your email, give us a subject and your message, prove you're smarter than a bot, and in case you're trying to promote your dying green light campaign or Indiegogo or Kickstarter even, just make sure to include a working Linux prototype, because if you don't, we're not going to mention your thing. All right? Capiche? All right.
So, our first hate mail of this evening actually comes from a little message from Linux_gaming that was really brought to my attention from our friend Liam over at Phronix. But
I
the
see
author
what you
of
did
this
there.
is NoXIDJ, if that is his real name. Not safe for work, and we were just talking about the show in general. Apparently, he says, let's backtrack on exactly how this went down. I was like, oh, check this game out, because what was that game we were under embargo for? Beat Blasters 3.
Beat
Blasters
Blast.
3.
Right, which we've had for like a month we've been sitting on, and they're like, okay, it's over. We officially released it. You can release a story about it. And I was like, oh yeah, by the way. Boom. Just threw it in the subreddit, because I don't normally like posting Linux_gaming, because there's the whole factor of you don't shit where you eat, right?
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the thing I have with that. But I threw it over there. I was like, hey guys, he's like, you put friendly in the title, then link to LinuxGameCast. Those immature cretins. Jordan, are you rubbing your nipples? Have to resort.
No, I'm fingering my butthole, but
Oh, hot. Resort to swearing to try make themselves entertaining. Grammar much. So at least you think we're entertaining. Vote me down if you want, but LGC is about as youth-friendly as porn. Porn's kind of youth-friendly,
Yeah.
actually. I mean, have
Porn
you ever
is
been a
not really-
teenager, really?
have you been a youth?
To think they could be an example of Linux gamers if Devels are looking, you mean Devels like Double Fine, Frictional Studio, and more independent games than we can possibly... Yeah, those guys? Yeah. Should worry all of you. All right.
We're not for kids. We make no dice about it. We're not for
Jordan,
kids.
you say naughty words and it offends people.
Yes.
Yes,
Jordan.
that's called speaking and offending people.
P-Man, what are your thoughts on this while I look up something right
This
quick?
guy, this particular No X, whatever his name is, has been on my automatic downvote list for a good long while now.
You
was a
have an
post-
automatic downvote list. That's cute.
Yeah, it was a post a while back. I said something and I was right, and he downvoted me. And he was actually upfront about downvoting me, but then he made some stupid ass excuse. So every time since then, he's been on my.
I just had to bring up a little
Automatic downvote
image right
list.
quick to quote Linus Torvalds, the creator of Fuck Mothering Linux. I like offending people because I think people who get offended should be offended.
Yep.
So that's
Right
all,
there.
all the attention we're going to give that business. But let's get into some fun hate mail from Beastwick.
Yeah,
Reality.
he says, any reason why you guys aren't showing more in-gameplay video as you do your review? If you say things like, I was not visually impressed, or this does not tickle my eye, I need some visual stimuli besides gigantic-ass microphones. All in all, a good cast. Keep it up. Running Debian here. I've been screwing around with Gen 2. I give this cast 3 chairs. That's a fair score.
Yeah,
But here's why we don't show more in-game footage. YouTube has this thing where they like to demonetize videos for no reason at all. It's called Content ID.
well, even worse, J-Man.
What was that?
Total Biscuit has learned this. If the developer really doesn't like your review,
Oh yeah, they can just take you
Yep.
down.
Yeah, if you have enough of their content in there, they will go yoink, and that's going to be a serious issue. But what you might want to watch, instead of watching the full show, I do go back and make a produced review, which is just a review, and it's got more video goodness for your eye pussies and that business. So, check that business out. P-Man, you got any thoughts on that? I mean, he's polite. I really don't like his constructive criticism. It burns. But
I know, self-improvement. We
We
want
don't get
none of
that
this.
very often.
Ew.
But yeah, it is a valid point, but like Jordan said, it's content ID, and if we end up not liking the game, we might get shit over it, and we'd rather not risk it.
Papa
But
and
then-
yo.
Yo,
We have the Vince 21
the
about
Vince.
Papa
He's not.
and
He's
Yo.
not. He's not. He's
Yo.
not just a Vince. He's the Vince.
The Vince. So he says, I have no idea what to think of the way you present this review. It feels like there's a lot of forced putting on of voice and joke making when it's perfectly fine to act like yourself. Oh, moral. Unless you're acting exactly like yourself, then I don't know what to say. The review is helpful though. Okay, then what's the point of the first paragraph? But I don't understand the main character model is low res when it's about as high res as everything else. Also, no explanation on what this frame smoothing does to the game, though the game is much laggier for me in Linux than it is in Windows. Well, there's your fucking answer. Frame smoothing fucks games up in Linux.
But there's a couple things we need to chime in, because this is for Papa and Yo, the review we did. And, you might want to sit down for this. Actually, I do the announcer voice at the beginning of the show. For shits and giggles, it's a really bad Clarkson impression, because I fucking love Clarkson.
In the world.
He's in a world. A gigantic cock, and I respect him for that. But, yeah, definitely sit down for this, because you've only watched a snippet of the review. We do an hour. Well, actually, we do about 3 hours of this every Saturday around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And these two jackals, I mean, this is us. This is not scripted. It's what we do. But to get back to the point with frame smoothing and all that, the guy who wrote the game, programmed the game, also responsible, their lead developer, and ported the game to Linux, contacted us and P-Man, saying things like, can you help me with this so we can get it out on Steam and get some bugs and all that sorted out? And guess what? LGC cares. So, P-Man screamed back in his direction.
And I sent him all my edited config files for the Unity Engine 3. Especially, I made sure to add a couple of comments to the INI files just to let him know which of the values I change, and frame smoothing, mouse smoothing, and there was a couple of other things I had to
Pedro,
disable.
didn't you get the memo that developers hate us?
Yes, apparently they hate
Right.
us according to Linux_gaming, but let's
as do gay people.
But yeah, no, it's frame smoothing. I actually said what it does in that review. It equalizes frame times on screen. It makes sure frames stay on screen for the exact same time or close to the same time each and every single one of them. And under Linux, that shit does not work. So I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in the review, so you probably didn't watch all the way through, or you were not paying attention.
All right.
And of course, there will be a test on this on Monday.
There's always a test, but we're going to have to save that for next week, because it's time to cue the music. I'm Vince Stone, and you can always find me cleverly disguised on the Twitter nets at Vinstone plus Vinstone on the Googs if you want to suck on some of that sweet sauce. But speaking of sweet sauce, J-Man, where can they find your face organ?
I'm Jordan Svung. You can find me at The Burning Fool on the Twitter nets, or plus Jordan Svung on the Google Pluses,
Hey,
the
Princess.
Googles.
And I, the giggling racist, am Pedro Mateos. You can find me at Unaccounted For
really Mexican.
on Twitter, or plus Pedro Mateos on Google Plus. God damn it.
He's a Mexican.
No, I think, first of all, let's just wave at the lovely people and say Pedro's a Mexican. Not a cat.
I'm
Can't.
Mexi-tried.
Portuguese. It's kind of
No, you got to Mexa-do or Mexa-do not. There is no Mexi-try.
scene.
Show title.
Mexi-try.
There is no Mexi-try.
All right, make it. I'll work around it.